Let's podcast after dark. Big thanks to Crank On Brewing. Check them out, downtown Raleigh. I was actually there last night having a good time. And I think Canes fans eventually had a good time tonight at PNC Arena. Everybody was living on the edge, man. Living on the edge. It started out great. Great first period. 5-on-5. You know, the Canes have been talking about their 5-on-5. It finally paid off, Joe. But the Rangers, look, man, they got dudes. They make big plays. It was not easy. But the Canes did something they have not done this entire series. They were 0 for 16 when they went on the power play one last time with just over 3 minutes to go. And they got it done, man. That was the difference.
Where's the champagne?
I don't have champagne.
I don't think we have any champagne.
We don't have any champagne, but you know what it's time for?
Oh, boy.
It's time for the dark arts. It also might be time for the beer stick. They're undefeated when I consume alcohol from the beer stick ahead of the game. What
did you put in the beer stick today?
Well, I did say that the Canes were going to finish off the Rangers starting with a win tonight in the same way that I'm going to finish this terrible New York-based beer, Genesee Ruby Red Kolsch. It's not good. But I essentially drank 2 cans of it out of the beer stick. And here we are. Just saying, they're undefeated. Undefeated when I drink out of the beer stick.
Still alive.
Here we are, Joe. Here we are.
Yeah, the first period again, I thought the Canes were good. 3-1. I was eager for the 4th goal to be scored.
Yeah.
So we could stop hearing about the greatest streak in the history of goaltending. Truth of the matter is, I thought Shesterkin was good again in the second and third periods. Second period in particular. Second periods have been a problem for the Canes in these playoffs. They're up 3-1. They give up the goal in the second period, but they also couldn't finish. And that's where, Shesterkin comes in, and then, the Lafreniere scores again. I mean, give me a break. It's preposterous at this point.
It's not that he scored. It's not that he scored. It's how he scored.
Right. But I'm just saying that it was him again.
Yeah, I know. Just like you're sick of hearing about the Shesterkin 3-goal streak, I'm actually getting sick and tired of the Lafreniere angle of this.
Yeah.
Including what had some people on Twitter saying, you know what, on second thought, maybe you should have lost in the bubble so that the Rangers wouldn't end up with this guy. He would go to Toronto and then he can just, do Toronto things. Like they tend to do. Toronto cannot hurt you. Toronto cannot hurt the Carolina Hurricanes, but the Rangers can. And who knows? We'll see what happens. They go back to New York on Monday in a Game 5 situation. Would love to see this come back Thursday next week for a Game 6. So I think it'll go back now that all the Knicks and the Billy Joel shows and all that stuff. I think they'll finally get some days in between, a little bit of rest, and they'll be back on Thursday, I think. But we'll see. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. So, talk about tonight.
Ultimately, not a big difference between this game and the previous 3. Ultimately, right? Another 1-goal game. However, there was one big difference.
There was one big difference.
Not only did the Rangers not score on the power play, which is notable, they only had 1 power play.
Yeah.
And I got to think a lot of that is, hey, that comes from the top. You can't respond. Like we've allowed them to get us off of our game. We've allowed them to dictate to us and put us in a bad situation. And I think that's what the message has been from Rod Brind'Amour to the players. And I thought you saw a concerted effort today to stay away from any of the extracurricular stuff. Now, of course, it helps when Kuznetsov scores less than 2 minutes into the game. Yeah. Then Nason tacks on another, and all of a sudden you're feeling really good about everything.
But we've seen this before.
We've seen that before.
We saw it in Game 3.
The biggest way to allow a comeback is to give up those special teams plays. So I actually think the biggest thing there is only giving up the 1 opportunity, let alone holding them off the scoreboard, because they've just been so good on their power play. Honestly, I was worried when Will Cooley's scoring and Barclay Goodrow are scoring. You're kind of in trouble.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And the Canes were due for one of these games where it wasn't just Panarin and all of their good players just hammering you over the head with all of their skill.
Not Panarin, right?
So in some ways, it's good that they might have gotten that one out of the way. But of course, you got to go back up now, Game 5, and be ready for their fastball, because that's what it will be. And you have to follow the same formula in terms of not allowing them to have the power play opportunities.
But that's out of their control.
Ultimately, it is and it isn't. You know what I'm saying?
Like, it is out of their control.
And even the stall penalty that we saw in this game, the trip. I think Zibanejad ultimately embellished it, likely, but it's still a penalty. You can't sit here and be like, "Oh, that was That was a dive. I mean, it was a penalty.
From James in the YouTube comments, can't come back from 3-0 without making it 3-1. I believe. Let's get another on Monday night. From Ryan on the YouTube comments, it's a knife's edge between these teams, but we might have pushed back just enough. The knife's edge part is the key thing. Before we bring on Mike Maniscalco, I want to reiterate something that was important about tonight. It's awesome that they finally scored on the man advantage. But two things ultimately played out for the Carolina Hurricanes. The first one is they finally had their 5-on-5 payoff. Rod Brindamore, I think it was in the last press conference or the in-between days, said something to the effect of, there's two stories right here. There's two stories with how we've gotten to this point. And the Canes have liked the way that they've played 5-on-5, which is fun. I get it. They have to believe. They have to keep putting the hammer down like something's going to finally break our way. Special teams, they've been getting their ass kicked. There's really no other way to put it, both in terms of the Rangers scoring power play goals and obviously the way the Rangers have been playing their penalty kill, forcing the Canes to just kind of get off schedule and cycle around and pass, no shots, right? So they finally checked that box off with a great first period. They played exactly the way that you wanted them to. Exactly the way you wanted to see them.
So you're
everything's cool.
Feeling some confidence for that because, I thought Kochetkov was really good in Game 3. I wasn't putting anything past him.
But I tell you what, we'll talk about this with Luke DeCock when he joins us because I do think there's a decision to be made in net on Monday night that might be controversial, but we shall see. But to wrap the point, and you said it, the best way to not get beat in the special teams is to not put the Rangers in a position to beat you on special teams. Let's bring on Mike Maniscalco, Canes play-by-play. That's the kind of analysis
you can't
we give.
Find that analysis.
You can't find that anywhere else, Mike.
On the
power play. Don't put him on the power play, Mike.
I didn't go to grad school, but I really feel that that's what they would teach me if I went there.
Look, I said it's ultimately out of the Canes' control. The easy base thing to say is, well, if you don't want to be in the situation, just don't take penalties. But it's not that simple because you don't know how games are going to be called night in, night out. So the way the game was played today allowed for a lot of 5-on-5. It's not shocking to me that the Canes finally scored 4 goals on Shesterkin.
Yeah, and I think that for me, that's the big part of it is, one, it was, and not to say that any of these games haven't been well officiated, but I don't think either team did anything tonight where you really needed to blow the whistle.
Nah.
I mean, they wanted to, if you're the Rangers, you don't want to go into this game and give Carolina 4 or 5 power plays and play with fire and maybe they get it going. So they were pretty clean. Carolina was pretty clean. I have no problem. All the penalties that were called were penalties. I'm sure that there are moments, and there were, where both teams can say, hey, you missed a call here or there, but I'd rather have it be decided the way it was. And again, I go back to this. When you have two teams that are this close, it comes down to the margins. And the margins are, do you get a save from your goalie? We're going to overlook this, and it's not burying the lead. I think I'm bringing like a third or fourth paragraph up front early. But after the goal that makes it 3-3 from Lafreniere, you're sitting there going, where is Frederik Andersen's mind going to be after that? And he makes the best save of the game for him on Jacob Trouba coming through and knocking it down to keep the game tied at 3. That is the save of the game for the Carolina Hurricanes, because in games like this, it's when do you get that big save? The Canes got it there. It allowed them to go on the power play. And looky here, the Canes are plus tonight in the special teams, and they win the game. Now, is there some stat about the Canes have won how many games in a row by only 1 goal or by less than 3? And that's not a good thing, because I know when you lose by 1 goal, that's the worst thing in the world. At least that was the storyline heading into this one here tonight. And I am not pointing fingers at anyone except for the general world. And Ovies knows me. I do that all the time. But in this situation, what I like tonight is this game can go one of 2 ways, because it's a 3-0 series lead. Carolina can come out and be like, there's no way we're climbing this mountain. Here we go. And the Rangers can come out and score the first goal and take control. The Canes were playing like we had a chance to close this thing out. Or you can go that the team that had everything to lose, and they did. I loved that first period. I loved everything about it except for the Will Cooley goal. But then you go to it. The Canes have got to come up with something in the second period here in these playoffs. The Islanders were able to get to something in the second period. The Rangers have been, even though there was no goals in the first game, The Rangers, it seems like they've gotten the better of play in the second period. Not every game, but for the majority of it. But this thing here tonight, all right, look, now you go up to New York and it's the same thing all over again. Win the first period, we go from there. But as long as there's time on the clock, let me give you every sports movie cliche we've ever seen. You're still allowed to play the games. So
to tie it back to what you said about your general demeanor, if we're going back to New York and Billy Joel just played his show up there, you're the angry young man.
Oh, well, not young anymore, but sure.
No, that's true. Young at heart, Mike.
But I'm keeping the faith. Let's go 80s. Let's go 80s Joel, huh?
There it is. Well, Ryan Hinkle had made the Canes have to hold on for the next 3-11. Of course, that kick started me into 3-11 mode. I'm like, look, you got to come original, or this is going to be a beautiful disaster. And amber is the color of our energy in the OG After Dark, Mike.
The only song that all of us know from 3-11, by the way.
So look, I'm gonna go ahead and push back a little bit on the 1 goal differential thing.
Please do.
Because look, I get what you're saying, but the results are the results. And I have been somewhat annoyed. This is not directed at you. We've had this conversation, but I've been somewhat annoyed at the almost kind of like, let's do our own self-medication. Let's feel good about ourselves. I understand you have to put yourself in this mindset. And it's this mindset of we've been playing our game. It's going to break. It's going to break. It's going to break. That's the kind of stuff that I don't mind hearing in the regular season, but this isn't February. You okay there? Oh boy.
See, look what you're doing. Look what you're doing, Ovies.
Yeah. Joe, you know what? You should have brought some of that 2 Roosters back with you. Could have sued the throat. That would have been the case. I don't have to get him off camera.
Get him off camera. Let him do what he needs to do. Oh, I think he's coming. There we go.
Here. There we go. So here's what I was getting at. I understand that talk is to put you in the right mindset. And that mindset I understand in the regular season, man. Like, we didn't get our points tonight, or we got a point tonight because it went to overtime. We'll get them the next time. But you don't have the rest of February to go. You don't have March to get things right. You only have 7 of these games potentially. So that mindset is kind of bothered me a little bit because it's denying what has been in front of us the last 2 years, or the 8 straight games or whatever it was that they had lost by 1 goal. And you sit there and you start asking yourself, why hasn't that been the case? Why can't they get over the hump? I thought tonight, the way that they came out was expected. I mean, you expect them backs against the wall to play that way.
Sure.
Sometimes we see teams come out and just not have it, or they're a little too amped up. I thought the Rangers did a good job in the second period of calming things down. But once again, there's one consistency I'll give the Canes. They are a resilient group under Rod Brind'Amour. And while the results might not go the way that they want or how the fans want, they're going to fight their asses off. And we saw that tonight. It finally paid off, and we get 1 more game.
So, again, this is why, and allow me to go the old Saturday Night Live point counterpoint, and I will stop calling you just short of an ignorant and the rest of the way of this one. I'll stop just short. But the reason why this team, is losing those games by 1 goal when you take a look is because they don't roll over. They don't just sit there and say, like, all right, well, we're just gonna move on to the next one. And they fight to the end. So for me, I look at it and go, if they're only losing these games by 1 goal, yes, it's irritating, and yes, it's annoying. And what's the common thread? And we'll pull at Giglio's shirt until we can get all the patterns to match. Whatever it can be, whatever you're looking for. The thing that I look at it is, if you're only losing these games by 1 goal, that means 1 bounce, 1 break, 1 special teams goal going the other way. You're winning these games by 1 goal. And again, I think we talked about it, Joe, after game 3. One of the annoying things in the regular season with how the Canes play with their fans is when they're playing teams like Anaheim or San Jose, who aren't very good, Columbus, the way that the Canes play, they're going to play tight games, even if they're in the lead. Now, they're more prone to blow out those teams, but they also play games where it's close for the opponents to be there. But they don't ever just turn tail and say, on to the next one. And I look at it more as, if you're going to get beat, if you're getting beat like 3 goals in the playoffs in these games, that's where I'm starting to question, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
You think this is good enough? And now it comes down to it's when you're losing by 1 goal every time, we know what the difference is. Just go do it. Just go win the special teams battle. That's what they did tonight. And that's why this series has another game coming up on Monday.
You mentioned the patterns. The pattern on Joe is all over the place, but the patterns on the rowback are money.
I know.
They're always money. So
I love how I fed that and you went right to it. I was hoping.
Look, this is called radio professional to radio professional, just outside of radio. But yeah, go to rowback.com. Use that promo code OG20 to save 20% off your order. Big shout out to Sam Walker, Outer Banks. He actually posted his rowback polo. He's like, this is one incredible polo. This is an incredible polo in a game. So you can do the same thing. So again, go to rowback.com. Use that promo code OG20. Rowback, helping you bring Mr. Mike Maniscalco.
I actually had someone I played golf with today said, oh yeah, the guy we played with last week, he said he went to Rowback, bought a shirt. He's like, yeah, the promo worworked. The promo code works. I'm like, oh yeah, I would hope so. What do you think we're doing here, sir?
Come on now.
Come on.
Well, I don't know, because talking about the radio professionals that Ovies and I used to be, there were times where there were codes.
Mike, I have a question.
That's a past life, though, Joe.
I have a question for you. I'm going to call them the second line since they're producing like a second line.
Sure.
Kuznetsov and Nason get the first 2 goals of the game. Kuznetsov, I don't have a great read. He does seem to have a personality. Obviously, he's new to the team. How do you think he took the benching? And do you think this is a product of that, or is this more of just everyone understanding the assignment today and it was all hands on deck trying to keep the season going?
I think the way that this game goes, probably that second point was the one driven home for Kuznetsov. But I think he took it perfectly because he kind of understands with everything that he's been through, there's no time for pouting. There's no time for any of this they pulled me for a reason. Don't become any reason to not play in game number 3 or game number 4. And, he gets back in the lineup. And I think the weird thing is, the way that Evgeny Kuznetsov plays, the style is not how the Carolina Hurricanes play. And Rod Brindamore has said this. Like he plays the game differently than what the Canes play. But what I liked tonight was he didn't hesitate on the shot. He got it through. What I like about Stefan Nason's game is it's the same thing every game he plays. He's going to go right to the net and he's going to score from 4 feet and in. The other thing that I liked about that line, though, tonight, Joe, and I'm not dancing around the Kuznetsov points here. I thought Jesperi Kotkaniemi was really good tonight in a way of being physical, going after, the hit when it was there, not to try to force it to say, hey, look at me, I'm trying to stay in the lineup. He made some plays. The poor guy can't buy a freaking goal this postseason. He has a great chance. The puck's coming to him. I thought that maybe Shesterkin got a piece on the way by, but the puck, raised up on him and he airmails it into the netting. So you can say, well, great player score that goal. Sure, whatever. But I thought that he was part of why that line tonight was really good. Now back to Kuznetsov. I think that he's a guy who, when it comes to this time of year, all right, whatever you need me to do, I'll do. And I'll get to that. And I think because he understands that these opportunities, because if it took forever for Washington to get over the hump, and when they finally did, you just know how special it is. Then the next year, you're not promised it again. So I think it's more the second thing that you said. It was all hands on deck, and it was that mentality. But I do think that the message was well received by him. And he's a pro now. He's a veteran. He's got to be a guy who you can't sulk, not at this time of year. And when you get your chance, you go back in and you play. And that's I'll say it. That goal, if there was, and you guys were in the building, there was that kind of tension in here going, oh, it's going to happen. And what do we see now?
There's a different dynamic tonight.
Yeah. I agree. There was a little bit of a different dynamic tonight. I thought that, look, I'll be the first to tell you, and Mike, you've known me long enough now to know that this is not going to come as a surprise to you. I was somewhat cynical going into tonight's game, in the sense that what happened in game 3 was demoralizing, just straight up demoralizing. Not because you're looking at all the expectations and the moves and feels like 06 and all that stuff. It goes back to last year and how things ended last year. And there's this carryover effect. And you have people just kind of in their feelings, understandably. And I thought, given how obnoxious Rangers fans can be, that they would fill out the building. Like, I thought that you'd see more blue in the building tonight.
I thought the lower bowl was
significant. I know where Ovies is going, and I want you to keep going that way, Joe.
No, I was going to say there was more blue. However, Canes fans absolutely showed out tonight. Canes fans were absolutely engaged from the jump, and after the Kuznetsov goal, that place was rocking. And I know I heard you, Mike, on the call, and it was very much when the power play goal happened. Not only were the Canes feeling it, the fans were just blowing it off the roof. Just like it was the same kind of feeling when Andrei Svechnikov finally scored in Game 3. So I think that, look, man, it's easy to get wrapped up in, people on social media. It's easy to get wrapped up in your own head. Canes fans with an opportunity to maybe see the Canes for the last time showed out tonight. I think it fed off. The Canes fed off that. And even though things got really, really quiet off the goal that went off the back of Freddie Anderson, it was very, very short-lived because Anderson clearly made up for it after the fact.
And I, by the way, was hoping that you would have noticed something and I don't know when you guys get to your seats, but I don't want to say this was for Ovies. It wasn't, but the little, readers that you do that I do with part of the Canes say, hey, here's where we are in the series. Well, this time it was, kind of the Animal House, nothing's over till we say this. But at the end, I did throw in, don't ever tell the Carolina Hurricanes the odds. I thought for sure you would have picked up on that. I was slightly disappointed I did not get the text.
He was in the parking lot drinking terrible beer.
I
heard it.
Well,
so about that.
Then that you are absolved, sir. You are fine.
So let's see. This is from Daniel. I knew the game was going to be a win when Ovies took the beer stick to the face in the lot before the game. Now,
that's playoff hockey.
It is playoff hockey. So Serena, she used to be a sports photog technician. You know Serena.
I know Serena very well.
She's got the Hippo here in downtown Raleigh wine shop, and she's a season ticket holder. I've known her since her NC State days, Student Media Authority. So she has one of the beer sticks that she brings out to. I have the beer stick here, but she brings a beer stick to the pregame, and they're undefeated when I drink out of the beer stick. So today,
we have video of this.
Tennessee Ruby Red Kolsch.
Oh, that, by the way, is and I know that I have other beer sponsors I need to pay attention to.
Hold on a second. Let me turn off the audio here because we can't hear anything you're saying. What were you saying?
I was going to say, I know I have other beer sponsors that I have to be loyal to, but growing up, we're Genesee Cream Ale, which, boy, you don't ever want to do that. The Ruby Red Kolsch, not a bad drink.
It's not that good, Mike. I'm going to be real for you. I should have put Crank Arm in there for being honest, but sometimes you have to take one for the team because what I said was I'm going to finish off this Jenny, a New York beer, just like the Canes are going to finish off the Rangers, a New York team. Now, here's the thing. The problem was that the Kolsch was way, way too cold. And my throat, I could not do it, man. I couldn't do it. And then when I went back for number 2, I got the air bubble, and I essentially, as one person put it, I basically did a neti pot with beer. I just cleared out the passages, man. I cleared out the passages. But then I went ahead and I finished that thing off on the 3rd try. But after doing the Charles Shaw White Zin, after I did, what was the first one that I did? Oh, it was the Mickey's hand grenades.
No, you did not.
I did the Mickey's wide mouth. Not that long ago. They're undefeated. So Monday night they're on the road. We're gonna have to find a way to have the beer stick before the game.
I've got a question for Giglio. Giglio,
yes.
Why is it every time that Ovies loses drinking out of the beer stick, it's 3 tries? Why can't he just do it in 2? Or why doesn't it take 7?
The white wine he did in 2, which was like the most impressive thing I've seen.
Yeah,
maybe in my life.
I did it in 2.
Whole maybe in my life.
It's a whole bottle. I did it in 2, and I did I did 3/4 of it on the first try.
Yeah,
and then I had to polish it off.
Are we putting Mike on the spot of who the goalie is going to be?
Yeah,
next game?
I want everybody's opinions on this.
Well, not putting on the spot. We'll ask him his opinion.
No, it's about opinion because we'll ask Luke DeCock about this. I am of the opinion that Freddie has been good. He's made some great saves, but he's also been shaky at times as well. I thought Kochetkov did a good job in Game 3 when needed. I feel like it's an opportunity to go back to Kochetkov on Monday night in New York. What do you think?
I agree wholeheartedly.
There we go.
Because wholeheartedly, because you then get those 2 days in between when you play on Thursday. You play Frederick Anderson back here at home, fully rested, and you go from there. But I know that Pyotr Kochetkov, that was not the reason why they lost game number 3. He likes playing at Madison Square Garden. He has won a big game at Madison Square Garden in his career. You go back a couple of years ago with the division on the line, and everybody's like, what are we going to get out of this guy? And he just went toe for toe and was actually better than Igor Shesterkin. The game here, where Shesterkin gets the shutout, and it's a 1-0 game, Fyodor Kochetkov was actually the better goaltender in that game. And it's weird that you say that. But I would, you know what? People were talking about the rotation. You want to go with the rotation. I think now's the time to crack it back out. And you that way you let Freddie rest, do what he needs to do to get ready. And if you come back here for a game number 6 with a ready, fresh Frederik Andersen, now who knows?
I think that's the move. I understood why they went, because there were some questions as to why they went back to Freddie Andersen tonight. No, you go back to Freddie Andersen tonight because it's the carrot, right? You know, how do you go about this? You go to Kochetkov. He was ready to go. He did what he was supposed to do. I thought he played decently enough. Canes did enough to win that game. Obviously, it didn't work out in overtime. The decision to go back to Freddie tonight always made the most amount of sense because he is your guy. He was positioned as your guy. Everything was set up for him to be the guy when he came back from the blood clotting. I thought they handled it perfectly going into the postseason. Now it's go time. And Freddie's been good. I mean, I'm not trying to act like Freddie hasn't been good, but you and I, all of us understand that in modern hockey, it's not just one goalie. Nope. It's never going to be a goalie. In fact, in Carolina Hurricanes history alone, if you want to get rid of, if you want to get out, if you want to throw the trends out of the NHL and where we are as a 2-goalie NHL, Carolina Hurricanes postseason success has always come down to 2 goalies.
Yeah, the Canes, but you can't say modern hockey because Vasilevsky put his name on the thing twice 2 years ago.
Well, most teams don't have a Vasilevsky is my point. That's my point. Most teams have to get by on 2 for the
and if I may, the 2 times because everybody likes to buy into conspiracy theories or try to take away when somebody does something. I'm not doing that because I think Andre Vasilevsky is going right to the Hall of Fame as soon as his career is over.
Sure.
But Joe Giglio, to your point, the first title for Andre Vasilevsky was won in the bubble. So he had a whole couple of how many months off as the world shut down?
Right.
And he just got to go back and play. And then the other one was only a 56-game season. So it wasn't a full 82-game season they had to go through. There's your conspiracy theory for the day. You're welcome, everyone.
Mike, we appreciate the time as always. We will see you Monday night.
By the way, Ovies, now that I know what went into before you went for the Ruby Red, that's impressive. That's impressive.
Well, so there is some discussion about doing a Smirnoff Ice next.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think you should.
Think I should do Smirnoff Ice?
Yeah.
Should I do it first thing in the morning when we're doing the show on Monday?
Ooh.
Little that kegs and eggs, a little Smirnoff Ice and bacon. What do you think,
that's an aggressive pull. It really is.
Hey man, I gotta put my body on the line. I gotta put my body on the line. I mean, look,
can't you just put like a high life in there? Like, why is that?
I like how he's going like putty. He's going full putty right now.
Because we've already done the high life. Remember when we got the beer stick in the studio? We did the high life.
Right.
Maybe I can do an entire beer stick of old fashions. I'm sure Wayne would love it if I did one of those. The nitro old fashioned. Oh boy, that would be bad. No, I think the people want
Zima. Yes, I'm here for a Zima.
Oh,
talk about heartburn!
Oh my goodness,
heartburn!
I'm not doing a 4 Loco in the beer stick.
Regular Zima or Zima Gold? That's the other question.
Actually, Mike. So I recently picked up this Sun Drop with Earnhardt on it. Okay, an original. This is an original. This is not like a new one. But if you look at it, it's got sediment on the bottom.
Oh God.
Yeah, man. That's the good stuff. Maybe I fill up the beer stick with this. People calling out for the MD for the Mad Dog. Man, I haven't done.
No, do not.
I haven't had Mad Dog since
you're not
high school.
18.
I mean, 18 at heart. 18 at heart. All right, Mike. We'll figure it out. We'll talk to you Monday, man.
All right. Anything else I can answer hockey wise before Game 5?
Is there anything we're missing?
No, I think we've covered it all.
I think we covered it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That works.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you on Monday.
We'll do it on Monday. We'll do it live. That's Mike Maniscalco, Canes play-by-play on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. You can sell your car to Heister Automotive Group.
I did not know that until I recently did.
Yeah, you recently did it.
And I figured it out, and I was like, oh, it's really good.
I had to talk to Bennett over at Heister because it's about that time.
Your son?
It's about that time.
Your oldest son?
But I don't know if it's going to be for him. It might be for me.
There you go.
I'm going to need something with a sweet cassette deck. Maybe an 8-track.
Oh, no. You're on this still?
Yeah, man. Hey, Look, I was at Sound Off the other day working on some design stuff with Anna, and they've got 8 tracks.
Not the lightning round music soundtrack.
Well,
and
no, that's a completely different thing. That's a completely different thing.
Hey, there's my owl.
Yeah, there is your owl. Now, speaking of things that we've introduced, you want to go to? Well, let me read some comments real quick because I actually have some calls on the OG Sports phone.
No, we do not.
We do,
pertaining to tonight's game.
And there's an OG Sports phone message that you're gonna absolutely love, man.
Let's do it.
Absolutely love.
Red Dog. Oh my, Michael, please do not give him in.
From show lawyer David McKenzie, most obnoxious fans ever. Yeah, Rangers fans are definitely on one for sure. Let's see. What do we got here? From AA Ron with how close this series is. Is there a chance for a comeback? Yeah, I mean, there's always a chance for a comeback. It's happened a couple of times. It hasn't happened. It's only happened twice? No, 4 times. It's happened 4 times. So the Canes would be the 5th team to do it. From Alex, watch for Panarin. He didn't have a good game. Maybe he shot away from the contact. As you said, they're going to bring their fastball Monday night. The Canes absolutely know this. And we'll see how it goes. How it goes.
I thought Panarin was quiet. We did not do Panarin's goal in Game 3 justice, though, the other night. Because
what do you mean?
I didn't see it. I was down in the corner, so I saw the reaction. I never saw the actual goal.
I got
the goal itself was not only amazing, but it proved all of the points we were trying to make about the Rangers' top end players.
I see.
So there is that.
I see. So Luke's gonna drop on here in a second. So let's go ahead and go to the OG Sports phone. The OG Sports phone is really, really easy to call. All you got to do is call 919-444-2211.
I did one thing on this program.
What did you do?
I created the thing for the.
See, there you go. There's the OG Sports phone. 919-444-2211. We got a call to the OG Sports phone as this game was wrapping up.
What's up, fellas? Enjoying to be here after the game. Just wanted to pop in and say we're so back. I think that the fact that the game winner was on the power play means that this series is going to become historic. The reverse sweep is inbound. I mean, I'm confident. Here we go. We're back. I want to hear you. Let's get it. Let's get it.
What do you think, Joe?
I'm not there yet.
You're not there yet? All right, that's fine.
I'm with you. Game 3 was really demoralizing. I thought they would come out and play tonight. And we saw this last year, remember, when they lost to Florida and they were down. They played a really good game in Game 4, and they ended up losing. They could have lost this game tonight, just as they could have won the first 3 games that they lost. Found a way to win. Yes, I think it's obviously encouraging to get the power play goal from Brady Shea. Yes. But I think ultimately what you're looking at here is how do you stay out of the penalty box? Because I don't think you're going to be killing. You're not going to regularly kill their opportunities.
No, you're not.
Their high-end skill is too good for that. So I think that was the real takeaway tonight. You look at that formula, you had a couple wonky things happen, right? And you're like, hey, we still handled the wonky things, which is a good thing. But you win the game because the Rangers did not score a power play goal. And ultimately, they didn't score a power play goal because they only had one power play.
Luke,
now they're going to have like 3 or 4 in the first period on what is it, Monday night?
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be right quick, man.
Yes. Yeah, it'll definitely change. All right, let's bring on Luke DeCock, columnist, News and Observer. He is still in the building, although he's I know exactly where he is. Are you okay, Joe?
No.
What's wrong with you? Okay, I'm going to take you out of the camera. Can you all right, hold on a second. Joe's cramping up. It is what it is. So, hi, Luke. I'm going to mute Giglio here as he's having an old man moment. It's not lost on me that you're in the NC State family room. There's been a lot of talk about NC State shit. We've talked about NC State shit being dead. People have been wondering if it's shifted over to the Carolina Hurricanes. Considering that the Rangers only had 1 power play, I would say NC State shit did not transfer to the Carolina Hurricanes. They actually had an opportunity tonight because they didn't have to worry about the Rangers and their special teams. It's all about that noggin thing, Luke.
Yeah. I also say that blowing a 3-1 lead because your goaltender gives up 1 off the ass is probably a lot closer to NC State shit than anything else that happened tonight.
So let's go there then. Let's go there because we talked about it a little bit with Mike. Curious your thoughts on this. Freddie Anderson in net tonight, which was clearly expected. He is your guy. Kochetkov did what he was supposed to do in Game 3. But Game 5 Monday, you got to go to Kochetkov again, right?
I think so. And I made that argument in the second intermission before he gave up the 3rd goal, that what we've seen with Freddie over the course of the season is if you play him every game, I should say, I've said over the course of this postseason, he wears down, whereas he played his best during the season, especially after coming back, on an every other game basis. Kochetkov played well enough to win game 3. So that's not an issue to me. I feel like Freddie's first period was good. His second period was okay. And the third period was not good, to the point where when the Rangers had Igor pulled, it felt like the Hurricanes were desperately trying to block every shot possible because they didn't want it to get through to Freddie. Freddie's played better in an every other game basis. And I think what we've seen in game 3 and now game 4, that you want to go to, because it sets up then you go to Cooch in game 5 and see if he can steal one on the road, which is actually, I thought, maybe what they might do in game 2. And then you come back with Freddie at home, game 6, rested, ready to go. And then you make a decision on game 7 based on who plays better in that 5-6 series. Maybe it's Freddie. Maybe you say, look, this is our guy. This is our season. We're going with Freddie. Because I can understand that, you might want to do that as a coach. But to me, it wasn't much of a debate at the second intermission. Halfway through the third period, to me, it's obvious that you go with Kochetkov in game 5. He played well in his one appearance. And, I think you have to go with that.
All right. Speaking of the Canes and their game, and sometimes you do this long enough and you hear the talking points that come out of a team. You expect those talking points. And one of those has been from Rod Brindamore, the team, about their 5-on-5 play. Yeah, special teams, we're getting crushed there. But 5-on-5, we've liked our game. That's what you'll hear. The first period played out exactly as the Canes have been telling you. 5-on-5, they've been fine, and it finally paid off tonight. So what exactly is going on with the second periods? Because the second periods, going all the way back to the Islanders series, have been adventures for the Canes, and they give the team life when they should be putting the foot down.
Yeah, I would go to a Mark Gottfried line. They got to guard us too, pal. I do think you're playing good teams. Islanders were a good team. Like, the Hurricanes made them look bad at times. Not a deep team, but a good team. Rangers are a really good team. And I think especially when you play that well in the first period, you do get that pushback in the second. And you say, well, you should be able to weather it, or you should be able to, play through that. But these are very fine margins. I mean, nobody should know that better than Hurricanes fans at this point, since this is the 15th straight game a Hurricanes plus 1.5 ticket would cash. So, these are very closely matched teams with a really good goaltender on the other side. So yeah, this does happen. I mean, it's the thing of it is, to me, like, the second period wasn't great, but you come out of it 3-2 and you got to play one more good period to close out the game. And then you give up what could be a potentially season ending goal, like it was like Barclay Goodrow's goal that ended the Tampa series in 2021 in game 1. Cause it's like, we busted our butt and we did everything we needed to do to win and beat the Lightning. And then Nedeljkovic lets one in from the goal line in the corner, and it's basically like uphill from there. So to come back from that goal and get the power play goal, I asked Brady Shea postgame, like, so the shot goes in. Is that celebration or relief? And he said celebration. His words said celebration. His body language said relief, because I think there was a sense of, finally we got something. And look, let's give Rod Brindamore credit. He's the first person to say we overrate adjustments and who's playing with who and the lines. He put Teuvo Teravainen and Brady Shea on the top power play unit, and Teuvo Teravainen sets up Brady Shea for the shot that wins the game. Does that necessarily correlate? Was that the missing ingredient all along? Of course it wasn't, but it's nice to sort of see when you shake something up to change the mojo.
Yeah.
That it works. I think that's all it was. I think now, the other thing Rod Brindamore said, and he would never call out one of his own players in public. He said, to me, it was more about not giving chances up on the power play. I've been happy with and I think that is a direct shot at Brent Burns and the fact that he really has not been very good in this series and was very much at fault for the shorthanded goal in game 3. So to me, this is more we can't play Brent that much.
Yeah.
And if we're going to put Shea up there, let's put Teravainen up there to kind of keep the rights and lefts balanced, and it worked out.
We'll close on this. I'm glad you brought up Brent Burns. We brought it up in the last After Dark about, look, man, hockey is very, very cliche and predictable that whenever the Canes are done, we're going to find out, one guy was playing with a leg that was barely attached by a tendon, like that's how it always is. We maybe find out something about Brent Burns, or it just could be the guy's 39 and at this level, at this level, unfortunately, he's just a little step slower than he used to be. And I mean, it happens, man. I mean, life comes at you fast in sports. And we might be seeing that play out. Defensively, as much as we've talked about Kochetkov and Freddie Anderson, and they've made some incredible saves, some of it is on the defense too. Some of it has been on guys trailing and just leaving either a wide open net, not being there in time, maybe an unfortunate turnover. And this has always been the strength of the Carolina Hurricanes, has been defense. How much of this is Brett Pesce being out of the lineup?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Tony D'Angelo has actually been pretty good over the since Pesce got hurt. To me, like, you look at the goals that have been given up. The game 1 goal, Teravainen loses his man. I can't remember if it was game 2 or game 3, but there's one where Nate just loses his man. Like, a lot of times, especially with the trailers, it's forwards who. It's not always a lack of effort. Sometimes it's just a mental lapse where, oh crap, that was my guy, was the 5th guy into the zone, and guess what? That's the one that's wide open to score after they get the puck behind the net. Like, we're gonna find out guys are hurt. Obviously, maybe it's Burns, as you said. Maybe he's 39. Like, I think Seth Jarvis is probably not 100%. He's on the way he reacted to the Fox hit in game 2. That looked like a guy playing through something. We'll find out more. But I also think they've done a pretty good job defensively overall. The goals the Rangers have scored, a lot of them have been on the power play. 5-on-5, the chances. I mean, the Panarin goal is just a hell of a play to win game 3. I mean, you're back to the net, one leg on the ice, tipping it through your legs on a really harmless. Like, you get, as Brendan Moore said after, I think game 1 or maybe game 2, when the Rangers had 4 power. Like, sometimes you do have to tip your cap. Like, sometimes you get beat. And the thing to remember, like, we talk about the chances and this is not your typical second round series, right? This is not like the Devils last year.
No, this should be
not the Islanders in 2019. This is the best team in the league.
Yes.
And because of the NHL's cockamamie, to use a Giglio word, cockamamie playoff format, you have the 2 best teams in the conference playing, and whoever loses this series is going to feel, is going to hear second round loser tattooed on them. The reality is these are the 2 teams that should be playing in 8 days or 10 days or wherever. The winner of this is going to be a heavy favorite against Boston or Florida, whoever wins, although it didn't work out for the Hurricanes as a heavy favorite against Florida last year. Nevertheless, this is really, in a lot of ways, a conference final type series. So when you talk about the Hurricanes defense or the chances they're giving up, they're playing a really good team. These are very closely matched teams. The Rangers have a goaltending edge. I wouldn't have said it, but they have a special teams edge. The Hurricanes have had a 5-on-5 edge against the Rangers for 3 different playoff years, and it hasn't gotten it done. Tonight it did. And you throw in the power play goal, hey, now you win a game. So it'll be really interesting to see. There's going to be a lot of pressure on the Rangers to close it out in game 5 at home. I actually think that's a harder game for the Rangers to win than to come down here for game 6. You saw that with the Hurricanes and the Islanders last year. Yeah. The Hurricanes are rolling, and they come back here for game 5, and it doesn't quite work out that way. And then they go up there and they win it in game 6. And let's not forget, in an overtime game that could have gone either way. So, to me, this is a bit of a wait. What's with the owl?
Well, it's after dark.
Okay,
that's something that Joe wants. Joe's back from his back spasm
from his emergency poops.
I wish.
Yeah, it was like the guy from what was the Notre Dame?
The
guy crapped his pants in the middle of the podcast. That was you. Yeah.
No. So welcome back, Joe. I used cockamamie just out of trivia.
Just for you. No, Joe insisted on an owl because he thought that was after dark,
like an owl.
Okay. Hey man, you guys are the creators, man. I'm just a pawn in the game of podcast.
All right, man. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you Monday.
See you guys.
You okay?
The back of my leg was like the size of a bowling ball back there.
I just want to be clear. You did not poop your pants.
No, the cleaning crew's out there too. They're looking at me.
They're like, are you okay?
Yeah, they're definitely talking about me in Spanish.
Do you want to hear the OG phone today?
No.
Though you want today? You want to save it for Monday?
No, you can give it to me.
All right.
I'm back.
This is
I
right
feel
up,
stable right now.
This is right up your alley. So call the OG Sports phone. This was a call that we got before the game.
Oh, before the game.
This is before the game. I think this was the anticipation of them losing.
Let's run down the Carolina Hurricanes real fast. Consistent high level of regular season success? Check. League model for team defense? Check. Gets the most out of middling talent? Check. Caps offensive playmaking by design? Check. Minimizes variations and outcomes. Check. Head coach is a media darling. Check. Continually underdelivers in the postseason. Check. Yep. The Carolina Hurricanes are officially Virginia basketball.
Thoughts, Joe?
It was better when I advanced the theory 3 years ago. So,
Wait, you had that theory 3 years ago?
Yeah.
I don't remember this.
Yeah.
Was it on the radio or was
Yeah.
it? Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Then again, I try to block out a lot of stuff.
No.
Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for OG After Dark. Big thanks to Crank Arm for sponsoring OG After Dark. Check them out. Downtown Raleigh. Always a great spot. Always a great vibe.
West Davie Street.
Good food trucks as well. You can go to their
Yeah,
website.
if you're going to a show.
Yes.
There was some 141 or what's the name of the group that was over there the other night?
Was some 41 there the other night?
Yeah.
I went to go see Queens of the Stone Age the other night with Caleb.
Yeah.
That was a good time.
Some 41. Just 41.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
was over.
I had their one CD.
I was over at the Crank Arm and they're like, anytime there's a show,
that's the spot.
Here's a real tip for you. You can, it's a sip and stroll district.
It is.
So you can buy a beer cheaper at Crank Arm. Now you can't bring it into the Red Hat Amphitheater, but you can walk down the street with it and you can go to the bathroom in there, which is easier than going to the bathroom at the concert. So walk up 3 blocks, get a beer, sip and stroll back, or drink a little bit faster back, and you're saving money. That's what we do on this program. We save people money.
That's what it's all about. And people are wondering if Joe was hitting the old Delta 8 off the camera. No,
trust me, I was hitting this life water. And again, the cleaning crew was looking at me. What I wanted to do was fall on the floor.
Do we need the long leaf pickleback shots? That would have helped you out with the cramping.
You know what I need?
What's
mustard. Mustard packets on demand.
DJ Mustard on the beat. I'm not going to say the rest. All right, that's going to wrap it up. We will see you Monday morning on a normal podcast. And of course, an OG After Dark. We get another one Monday night. What will I drink from the beer stick? Find out on